views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, I'll keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try when
A sanctuary is a place where any creature can live fully for its life. We created the sanctuary to give the wolf a place where it can do whatever it wants, feel safe, and live a life with a purpose. The idea of my sanctuary was, one, get the wolves away from one thing, people. So we bought the most primitive remote land we could at the time. And the second thing is, it's disgusting to have any animal stuck in a cage that was designed to be wild, but they can't survive. So let's give them a big cage. And that's when we found that wolves that were happy in big areas became less afraid of humans. And it actually came to the point that when humans show up, that's the enrichment. The wolves are stimulated to come meet the people. We don't train the wolves, we train the people.
Welcome, Kent Weber, to my show. My name is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. We are talking about Mission Wolf, and that is a sanctuary, right?
Correct.
And who founded Mission Wolf?
My wife and I did. We incorporated in 1988.
Wow, that's a long time, eh?
Yep, I just celebrated my 5th decade starting of federally licensed for wolves. I became federally licensed to take care of a wolf in 84. We bought our property in 86, and we put the land in the wolf's name as a nature center in 88, with the idea that no matter what happens to the people, the wolves will always have their property. Today it's a 500-acre nature center.
Mm-hmm.
It's educational facility where people come learn, I hate to say it, how to use a shovel, a wheelbarrow, a hammer, and build something with their hands to help provide care for the wolves. Yesterday, students had to cut up 1,000 pounds of meat. So everything is done by the people that come to visit. We don't have, quote, paid employees. We repair our cars. We build our own buildings. And
So you have a lot of volunteers, no?
Yes.
So the sanctuary, like you said, certain amount of people working for you. How many are there? Working staff as well as volunteers?
We usually keep about 8 staff that live on site 24/7. It sometimes goes up to 16, sometimes drops to 6.
Wow.
But those are the people that live here full time, myself and my wife. Um, you don't get any money. We didn't get a paycheck till 30 years into it. And that was the idea, is that you come and you can't buy your way here, and you can't come here because you know something better than someone else. It's open to survival of the fittest. You find us, good job. You don't scare the wolves, you can spend the night. If you can help, we'll put you to work. And if you survive 2 weeks, you get food. If you survive 2 months, you get a teepee and a community kitchen. And what I never would have even believed in my wildest dreams, that after running, building large construction sites, 200 employees on site in a day, a lot of scheduling, hiring, firing, people mad, everybody in that world tries to take advantage of each other. If I can work less and get more money, I'm the better guy. When we moved away and we didn't put up an expectation, I now have PhDs, masters, doctors that are so challenged at the world that they don't want to participate. And we find ourselves with people very, very skilled donating their time unconditionally. I never would have believed that would occur. So now our biggest problem is so many people want to help us, it's hard to manage.
Well, how can we help other than volunteering come to your sanctuary?
Yeah, this is going to challenge you, but the goal of Mission Wolf was created after Mission Impossible. Two thoughts. How do you keep a wolf happy in a cage? I
Mm.
grew up in the woods. And when you grow up in a wild area with ranching and hunting and logging and mining, you don't touch wild animals. You don't put them in a cage. To domesticate a wolf and put it in a house is just an appalling thought. But that was the first thought, was we came across a wolf in a cage. It was stuck there. It couldn't go back to the wild. The people couldn't take care of it. So if you're a wolf in a cage, I think you ought to have a big one. So that's what started Mission Wolf. We moved 15 miles from the highway,
Yeah.
put up a giant fence, many acres. And
Mm.
instead of forcing the wolf to be on exhibit like you see in a zoo,
Mhm.
you're on exhibit, you're scared, you pace. Well, the wolf had a place to hide, and it was bored. It lived in this big home by itself. When visitors came up, instead of scared and running, it ran up to meet the people, and you became the stimulus. Well, that made happy wolves. And the next thing, I had a request to take in an unwanted pet wolf, a zoo wolf, a movie wolf. We accepted 52 of them by 1993.
Dang.
You can't save the world. So we had to start telling people, if they can't keep their pet wolf, there's no place to go. I can't keep it. Nobody else can. If you turn it loose, it's just going to die. So if you can't keep it properly, kill it. And I've now told that to 10,000 people. And then at the same time, Mission Impossible. How do you get a wolf back in the wild? When you and I were kids, we had killed every wolf in the lower 48 with the exception of 200 in
Mm.
Minnesota. That's all that was left. 200 wolves. We used to have
Oh,
2 million.
mm.
So to get wolves back in the wild seemed to be impossible. And a teacher is what started this. She saw the wolf, said, "Bring your wolf to my school."
Mhm.
He had read about a guy that took his wolf to Congress in 1973, started the Endangered Species Act, worked with Marlin Perkins, Wild Kingdom, Mutual of Omaha, Cleveland Amory, Fund for Animals. These guys did amazing things, but this old guy was a Hells Angel biker out of San Francisco. I kid you not, 1967.
Oh, yeah.
He took in his ex-wife's unwanted pet wolves. And the minister said, "Bring your wolf to the church." Well, this is in the 60s.
Mhm.
The cameras saw that, recorded it on a TV show. That guy went on to take him to Captain Kangaroo, Phil Donahue, Congress. And my point, the reason I tell you this, is we had people that met a wolf in high school in 1965. They today will tell you that story like it was yesterday. So this is what Jim Fowler, Mutual of Omaha, told me. Nobody understands or cares until they touch. So that's what Mission Wolf did. And I took Wolf into the federal building in downtown Denver as a protest. And
Right.
you can imagine federal agents react when a wolf walks in. They all got scared. I told them off, said I didn't think you're doing anything right,
Right.
puffed out the door. And the
Mhm.
director runs out, shakes my hand, thanks me for my information. That was when we could agree to disagree as a society. And he says his biologist gained more in 20 minutes meeting a wolf than he did in 2 years of Yellowstone. Would I
Mhm.
please bring the wolf back next week to meet his whole team of biologists? The next week, I was in Washington, D.C., met congressmen. That same year, we got to meet Mr. Rogers and we got to meet the Hells Angels.
Yeah.
And everybody in their brother think either wolves are one thing, they're going to eat you, they're the symbol of the devil, and the only good wolf is a dead wolf. And the other side of society is if you like it, go buy it. Now we know that the wolf's the symbol of our best friend, the dog, the symbol of the wilderness. Native culture, you were a good provider if you were wolf-like. European culture, you were the devil if you were wolf-like. So the next thing you know, everybody
Educate. We need to
destroys
educate.
what they are afraid of. So that's basically what started Mission Wolf. And my best thing I can do for anybody is let them meet a wolf. Autistic kids can't focus, their heads are down. We shake hands, we'll sniff noses. And when they have an interaction, that head comes up, the eyes open, and it opens up a neurotransmitter. It allows them to find a calm to get into their peripheral vision. Veterans of war, traumatized. You can tell your therapist all your problems. But when I take veterans, and we've got a valley full of them, so I do this every day, and I take veterans in with a wolf, they're mad, they're upset, and usually animals are scared of men, especially mad, unhappy, angry men, which a lot of veterans are. The wolves will go almost to every veteran. And it took us years to go, why? Is a veteran combat trained? You're in your peripheral vision. And the wolves sense that. And when the wolves come up to the veterans, it calms them. So we don't tell people this. Mission Wolf is a sanctuary for wolves and a nature center where you can come see the wolves. But we do behavioral programs with people to teach conflict resolution. So we have horses, we have rescued Mustang, hot end Egyptian Arabian. They're
Wow.
they're not easy to handle horses. My wife does this, and she will show you how to make a horse move without ever touching it, using your body.
Body
And
language.
that would, yeah, if you could do it with a Mustang, a wild horse, you can do better with a domestic horse. Does that make sense?
I hear you.
They call it horse whispering. So I do the same thing where I will take you in with a wolf. And if you learn how to move a wolf, get it to befriend you, greet you, that allows you confidence to work better with your dog. So we do behavior training that helps people reduce conflicts with both horses and dogs. And this is the joke that we say, and it's not a joke, it's real, that if you learn how to calm a horse and a wolf in the wild, you can calm your spouse. It's all about,
Hello.
it's all about communication.
Hear that, Bob?
Yep. So get you and Bob to come out. I'll put you in a pen with the wolf, and
Hello.
and
I
that's
would
what you
like to meet
remember
you.
for the rest of your life.
And you know, you got a website, don't you?
Yes, missionwolf.org.
And email or phone number. That's all on the
Yep,
website.
yep. Info at missionwolf.org is our email. And I think I've given you my cell number. The phones out here don't work. So I have a Starlink internet that grabs a Vonage connection. And if you try to call the refuge, we have to be in the building next to the computer to get that call.
Right.
So the sanctuary is spread out over miles, and the cell phones only work in about 50% of the area. So my cell phone that I think I've given you is the best phone number to reach me.
Well, we can put it on then?
Yep. And then our website has the internet phone for visitors to leave messages, and that's the best way for them to get hold of us.
Hey folks, we know not all of you have had the opportunity to come out to the sanctuary, or maybe you're in the middle of planning a trip right now. Well, we wanted to give you a glimpse on what it's like to come to the sanctuary on one of our busy summer visitor days. Upon arrival, you'll be greeted by one of our staff at our kiosk. Once everyone from your time slot has arrived, one of our staff will take you around for a tour of the facility, where you'll get to see some of our off-the-grid living, sustainable architecture, and hopefully see a wolf or two. We will even take you into one of our greenhouses to show you what it takes to produce food at 9,300 feet. Can you imagine seeing a fig tree at 9,300 feet in the winter? After your tour, you may have the opportunity to meet some of our more social resident canines. But before we do that, you'll get the chance to sit down with Kent or Mike to learn about wolf behavior, wolf and people behavior, and most importantly, why we do what we do. There's a saying from a 4th grade classroom that states, "I forget what I hear, I remember what I see, but I understand what I touch." And we've learned it's human nature, what we don't understand we try to control, and what we can't control, we destroy. So by allowing people the opportunity to touch a wolf, we are allowing them the opportunity to simply understand. We hope you enjoyed a glimpse at one of our busy visitor days, and hopefully we'll get to see you out here in person sometime. Many thanks to all of our friends and supporters that allow us to continue our purpose of education versus extinction.
So you educate, you have schools, classrooms.
So education versus extinction was what we found. Is the wolf is unique, and you'll like this one, I think. Scientists, in the world of science, we've learned that science is fact-finding. And Jim Fowler told me this, Mutual of Omaha. He's like, Ken, scientists will never tell you how to save wolves because science is fact-finding. Science will tell you when you have 10 wolves. Science will tell you when you have 5 wolves. Mm-hmm. And science will tell you when you have no wolves. But science will never, ever tell you how to change it because science is about facts. And it's fascinating. It is incredibly true. So this is where our society, you got all this great science. Do politicians pay attention? It's all about money. So he also said that they learned with the Siberian cat, nobody understands till they touch. Mm-hmm. And India was about ready to cause the Siberian tigers to go extinct in the late 60s. They couldn't get anybody to pay attention. The politicians, they had Wild Kingdom going, they had Walt Disney going, they're doing all this work, stop killing the Siberian tigers.
And they're beautiful.
And Western hunters, American and European hunters, were spending so much money to go to India that India didn't care. And they just wanted the money. What Jim said made the difference in why we have Siberian tigers today. They got a captive Siberian tiger out of a zoo. Mm-hmm. They walked it into an audience of 1,000 people. This was a calm cat. And those people that got that experience wrote a letter that night, and it saved the tiger. And he said, if you care about any animal, humans do not care until they touch. So this is what Mission Wolf has done for 27 years. We went to 30 states. We met schools, groups, museums, universities, and I've let 1 million people touch a wolf. That took a lot of time, but that's what got wolves back to Yellowstone. So here's what we learned with the wolf. DNA in a tiger is different than a domestic cat. I could sell you a bobcat and I could lie and call it a kitty cat.
Mm-mm.
Scientists can prove you wrong, and they can test the baby cat and go, this is a wild cat. It's totally different DNA than a domestic cat. And I could sell you a baby bear cub. I don't know what I would call it.
Cub.
They can easily test the DNA in a bear cub and go, no, that's a bear. Here's the problem. The wolf is the only animal that shares its DNA with our best friend, the dog. So when you and I were kids, we were told fox terriers come from a fox, sized dogs come from a coyote,
Oh boy.
big dogs like shepherds come from a wolf. Well, in the 90s, a DNA expert, this is what we were told in science for 100 years.
Mm-mm.
In the 90s, an expert went, you know what I found out? The Chihuahua has identical DNA to a wolf, which is identical to a Great Dane. And dogs used to be called Canis familiaris. You probably remember that word. Wolves were called Canis lupus. So in the 90s, science had to change it. And they now call your dog Canis lupus familiaris. So your dog is a subspecies of gray wolf. And this is what brings into why do we have sanctuaries? I can sell you a wolf today, that's illegal.
Right.
But I can lie. And I can sign a piece of paper that says this wolf is part dog. And nobody can prove me wrong. I can sell you a dog. That's not very exciting. But if I sell you a dog and call it a wolf dog, I might get more money. The more wolf, the more money you can sell it for. So
it's like a romantic name, wolf.
right. We call it yuppie. So, and hybrid is two animals like a donkey and a horse that breed. They have an offspring, a mule, but the mule is sterile. It cannot produce puppies. That's the scientific definition of a hybrid. A wolf dog is nothing more than a wolf dog cross. So to tell people that the word hybrid is wrong might help us, because everybody goes, oh, it's a hybrid. I don't know what that is. I'll give you money for it.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at today. We have 3 million wolf dogs in cages. In the last month, I've turned away 100 homeless animals in just a month. And every day I have to tell people, if you can't keep your wolf, kill it. There's no place to go.
Put him down?
Yep. If you had a sanctuary and you wanted to open one today, I could in 30 days give you 30 to 60 animals. That's about all you could handle. And in 1 month, you would have your life, and you couldn't do anything else for the next 15 years except try to get money, feed those wolves, and take care of them. And if your partner, is that your husband I heard beside you?
He's a bobcat.
Yeah. If he started a sanctuary next month, we could fill him in a month, and the next guy in another month, and the next guy. So the solution is not to create more sanctuaries.
Right.
The solution is to educate people. Wild is in the woods, domestic's in your backyard. And when you mix wild and domestic, it doesn't help either animal.
Have respect for life.
Yeah. And some people can take care of wild animals okay. Most people can't take care of children. We kill 30,000 dogs a week at shelters because they have anxiety. And so humans have forgotten how to train a dog. And when a dog gets anxiety, they shred the house. They take him to the shelter and we put him down. So the pup that you talked about, Spirit, that you were interested in, he just had a post put on Facebook, just literally, I don't know if it's up yet. Do you follow our Facebook page?
Yes, sir.
It has, they just came back from the vet, and it has all the vet statistics of how healthy he is now,
Right.
how sick he was when we got him.
Right.
And he is an example of what you're talking about. A single, I think she's single, I don't know. The lady in California learned that she could sell a puppy for $1,000.
Puppy
Well,
mill.
if you had 100 of these puppies and you could make $100,000 in the spring,
They don't
and
care.
just did it, you understand why people do this. So she, I think, because of that goal of money, and wolves in cages, they respond and they produce to their food. So a lot of food, a lot of puppies, higher survival rate. In the wild, you don't have near the survival rate.
Right.
So if you go to the US in a nutshell, and I'll end on California, in 1920, the only good wolf was a dead wolf. And that's what Americans thought about wolves. So from about 1880 to about 1920, we killed 2 million wolves. By 1940, the cities, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, those folks were deprived of nature. And they started going, we want zoos. So they started putting the baboon and the gorilla and the tiger and the wolf in concrete cages. They were terrible. And of course, it only took our society 20 years to go, that's really stupid. I feel really sad for that animal in a box. Let's make it a pretty enclosure. Now, the behavior is still the same.
Right.
The hair and the stuff, but it looks pretty. Yeah. So you go to 1960, the start of a worldwide environmental movement. You get Walt Disney, Never Cry, or not Never Cry Wolf, but Wild Kingdom, Mutual of Omaha. And when the American public went, we want nature films, they had to put their hands up and go, we killed all the nature. It was that. So what did they do? They went to Canada. They caught wolves alive in Canada, and they brought them back to the United States so they could make movies with them, so they could have them in zoos. Well, in a zoo, unlimited food, unlimited vet care, unlimited puppies, unlimited survival rate. So from 1960 to about 1980, the zoos just filled up with captive wolves. They found that they could get rid of them because there was no federal rule because of the DNA. So mom and dad zoos started getting wolves. Well, then they started bringing them with wolf dogs. And of course, everybody wants the puppy to look like a wolf, act like a dog. So from 1960 to about 1980, we grew 250,000 wolves in cages. That's how many were under USDA registry at the end of the 80s. Now we've all been taught, if you like it, go buy it. And today, this is horrifying.
Yes.
3 million wolf dogs in the United States right now.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above. So until we meet again, Godspeed, my love. God is with us always, and for the rest of all our